remember the accountants asking, like, it's like, well, what do you expect to make next year? And the answer is, of course, like, either $1 or $1 million. People will just tell you something, and I'll be like, okay, well, they're really, they have an amazing job. They have a lot of experience. I don't have enough experience.
Know. Right.
They must know. And then I would just watch them be wrong. Right? What it is like to be a director is that you have a dream of this movie you want to make, and then you just start infecting other people. And then everybody else starts becoming devotional and passionate about this thing that was just a dream I had.
I'm Rachel Martin, and this is Wildcard, the game where cards control the conversation. My guest this week is film director Celine Song. Celine Song makes movies that force everyone watching to just slow down. And by doing so, we get to linger in the most profound moments, the power of a long silence. A gaze that says more than any dialogue could. She's a writer and director who understands that emotional intimacy is just as important as a good story. And that is clear in both her debut feature, Past Lives, and her new film, Materialists. I am so happy to welcome Celine Song to Wildcard.
Hi, thank you for having me. So excited to be here and talk to you.
Oh, I'm so excited that you could do it. Round one, memories. 1, 2, or 3?
Let's do 2.
2. What's a story your family always tells about you?
I think that I was there's a home video of me where I'm at a family event and I'm very young. I think I'm like, it's just so young, like less than like 6, 7, something very young.
Yeah.
And I think that I was like so aware of where the camera is. And I think that I literally am trying to get the adults to pay attention to this camcorder. And I think I'm literally going like, everybody, look at the camcorder. Everybody look at the camera. Everybody look at the camera. Insistently. And I think that would be really the right one. It's like, everybody go look at the camera. It's so funny. I mean, I think about it all the time.
It's like you were directing even then?
Yeah, I was kind of like, okay, guys, cameras on set, let's roll.
Stop messing around, people.
Stop messing around. And I'm so young in it. And I just feel like I'm already like trying to like boss these adults around,
Was that sort of your MO in your family? Were you bossy?
I think I've been bossy all my life, I'm the eldest daughter. I think that, I'm very in charge, like I like learn English. I was ESL and I learned English. And a part of that is that like I learned very fast because I wanted to survive and boss people around, I think.
Yeah. What, how old were you when your family immigrated to Canada?
When I was like 12, 13, something like that. Yeah.
I wonder if being in observer mode was a safe place for you too. Like landing in a new culture. And directors and filmmakers are always observing things. And maybe you got that from that experience too. Like if you didn't feel a part of something, maybe it felt safer to just sit and look at it.
Well, I wonder because, I'm not necessarily sure if it was I got to observe because a part of being different than other people and then like not being great at English is that you're actually center of attention in some ways, right? Because it's like everybody's looking at you. And maybe they're like laughing or they're trying to teach you some mean jokes, Like I feel like there would just be like words that I'm not supposed to know that they would tell me,
I mean, isn't that a sign that you're sort of in? Like,
in a way. But then I would know I didn't know what that is, but I would just repeat back and then I'll get into trouble.
Yeah.
But so I don't think that I'm necessarily like not in the middle of attention, not the center of attention. But I do think that it helps me. It helped me figure out like how to read a situation. Like I feel like it forces you to be a very good listener because you're just trying to read the room and understand the power dynamic in the room.
Yeah.
And to spot people who are feeling a certain way, which I think is, of course, helps me so much in directing. Yeah.
Do you guys get that video out? Like when you get together with your family, does everyone bring out the video of Celine directing when she was like 4?
No, I feel like I saw it once recently. Yeah. It's very embarrassing.
Your path was laid from an early age. Okay. Next 3 cards. 3 new ones. 1, 2, or 3?
3.
What's an experience from childhood when you realized your parents were only human?
Oh, I think skip.
Skip.
Skip this
There we
one.
go.
Yeah, give me another one.
There's another parent one. How do you consciously try to emulate your parents?
Oh. Well, because both my parents are freelance artists all their lives, I feel like in that way, like it's like everything I do, I think that I have a lot of wisdom that I got from my parents, right? So as I get to kind of learn like how to be a graceful and a professional freelance artist, which is like a very specific thing.
It
'Cause
really is.
Right,
Yeah.
but because being a freelance artist is such an uncertain, impossible to guess kind of a thing, the only thing that can be the centering thing is yourself and your own work.
I mean, it takes immense confidence.
It
I would
takes so
imagine.
much confidence. Yeah, because every day you feel like you're not every moment that you're not writing, you feel like you're not a writer. And I feel that's even now, like, so what is what is my identity, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, well, I'm a writer. I haven't written in a couple days. Right? Compared to like, I'm sure if I had a job 9 to 5, I feel like I'm sure I would go and I would do the job and maybe I'll feel a little bit more like I have a job.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
often I feel like I feel like I'm mostly part of saying like you're self-employed is that you're kind of unemployed until like one day you get a big check. I remember when we first got our like big check, we got an accountant. And then I remember the accountants asking like, well, what do you expect to make next year? And the answer is, of course, like either $1 or $1 million. We don't know. Somewhere in between, somewhere in there. It's really like, like it's really like all or nothing. So I think that to me is like I can imagine that can be really hard if your parents are what I call people who don't do what is it? Who's not a freelance artist, like civilians?
Yeah, civilians.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like
yeah.
muggles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like
The
if your
normies. Yeah.
right, if your parents are muggles or like if they're muggles or civilians, then you're in a situation where you're like kind of like, well, I guess it might be confusing for them if you try to explain like, well, this year, I may make $1 million or $1, but because both my parents are freelance artists, they understand that better than me, right?
They model how to be an artist in your soul. Like it doesn't matter if you feel like, oh, I haven't written anything so in a week, so I feel like I'm not a writer. I imagine them telling you, you get to decide if you're a writer. Like that. You are because you say you are, right?
Of course. And I feel like it's also like there is a very important kind of power to laziness, right? Because I feel like there's something that is I think this is something that we all deal with as modern people. And this is connected to what I want to talk about in my movie too, of all of us becoming productivity machines.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think that there is a very important part of being a freelance artist that is being comfortable with laziness, right?
Yeah.
Being very comfortable with doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it is okay that I don't write for a week. Let's say I don't write for a week because I'm in a mood, or like the world feels so dark, which we can all relate to right now. But it's like the world feels so dark, so we would just want to take a break for a week, like whatever that may be. I think that I feel very part of the thing that I'm learning is like. From my parents is that like I just get to be comfortable in it.
Okay, before we start round 2, I want to pull back from the game and talk about your new film, Materialists. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Your debut film, Past Lives, was like this huge hit, this global hit, and I can imagine that there was some degree of pressure on you with the second one. And so congratulations on being on the other side of the second one.
I mean, I think that's quite true. But also, though, I knew that this was going to be my second movie while I was releasing all of Past Lives, because I finished working on Past Lives and there was about 6-month period between when I finished working on post-production for Past Lives and then when we went to Sundance. So there was about a 6 month period there where I was going a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Because I knew that my movie, I had made a movie and I'm a filmmaker, but nobody else in the world knew.
Isn't that crazy?
I was feeling a little nuts. And I was like, I'm just going to write my next movie. So I was thinking back on what was a movie that I really always wanted to make. And I worked as a matchmaker in my 20s.
I know. I can't believe that. I need to know more details. But yes, continue.
So in my 20s, I worked just as a day job because I was broke. And then I remember thinking as I was leaving that job that I'm going to write something about it one day. And so I was like, okay, let me figure out how to crack this particular story. I tried for like 10 years to, in an intermittent way, to crack the story. And eventually I sat down and I was like, now that I've made my first movie, let me figure this out for my second movie.
So how did you build from your experience as a matchmaker into this particular story, which is another sort of love triangle? I mean, we had like a defined love triangle in past lives.
I mean,
I mean, you do love, Celine. Like,
I mean, I feel like I believe that love is something that always troubles me, you know? And I think that that's really the reason why I get so interested in it. Because I feel like I always have to make something that makes me feel like I can learn something from it.
Yeah.
Right? So because of that, I feel like I keep getting interested in something that I'm always quite troubled by. And the reason why I'm so troubled by is because it is so entirely mysterious, right? Like every day I have, or whatever, like, you know, every day I'm a director. Like, you know, I have to answer questions all day. I have to be smart all day.
Yeah.
And then there's this one domain in human life where the only answer is that you have to let yourself be a complete fool and not very smart at all. And you just have to let go of, and, you know, give in, try not to control it, and then just say, I don't know, that's just how I feel, right?
Yeah.
Which makes me feel like I don't know, love sometimes sounds like true love, sometimes sounds like it's Santa Claus, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like, and I think in that way, it's a source of endless fascination for me. So, and it's a universal theme. I think we're all very baffled by it, all of us.
Does that mean you think it's worth it to throw your life savings at a high-end elite dating agency? Seriously?
No, not at all. I talk about this with any kind of like a dating industry things, like the apps, the matchmakers, all of those things, right? The thing about those things is like, well, if to think about love as a miracle in a way that you think about lightning, right? Tinder, date, matchmaking, everything, those are just ways to go out into the field when there is a thunder coming, and then, like, you know, putting out, you know, your arm with like a metal rod or a fork, right? That's why you're on Tinder. That's why you're on or a Hinge or whatever. The reason why you want to be on those things, and the reason why you might hire somebody as a matchmaker, all of those things are so that you might be struck by lightning. And you're trying to like arm yourself with a little antenna to be like, okay, I hope it hits me today, you know?
Did you personally help anyone find their lightning match when you were a matchmaker?
Well, I mean, I didn't do it for very long. I only did it for 6 months.
How come? Because you were just like, this is not for me?
No, it's because I was having too much fun.
What?
I was having too much fun working as a matchmaker. So it was supposed to be a day job that's supposed to help me like pay for my life while I'm writing. But I wasn't writing because it was too enjoyable.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's really fun. Well, it's fun because you get to learn the very real and very intimate parts of a person, and especially a person that, as like broke artist, I wouldn't get to meet. Like, how would I know this? Like a love, like desires and who they want to date of a person who's like a private equity manager. Like I wouldn't meet that person, right? But I would get to meet them as my client, and then they would tell me.
And that person has longing, yeah.
Oh yeah, and that person will describe somebody they want, and you just learn so much because it's so frank, right? Because with the matchmaker, they're very frank. I always say it's they're more honest with the matchmaker than they are to their therapists, right? Because a matchmaker is supposed to get you something,
right?
Right.
This is your shot, so you got to be honest.
So you got to be real. So you got to explain to me exactly what you're looking for in a way that you might, again, you might describe a car or a house, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like talking to a real estate agent and being, it's like, I needed to have 3 rooms, this budget.
But then
It's a
didn't
similar
that
thing.
feel kind of skeezy? I mean, in the film, it's
Of
clear that a
course.
lot of that felt like not that awesome when someone's like, I can
course.
only date this race and they have to be this tall.
Yeah.
And there are all these attributes that aren't very soulful.
No, but I think it's like, it's still a really fun game, right? And I do think that a part of it was eating at me, of course. But I think it was still like really fun to see that, to really hear what people thought love was, right?
Yeah.
And then I also was just married at the time. I had gotten married a few months before. So I knew that like what love and marriage felt like for me. And it was the thing that all my clients were looking for.
Yeah.
But none of those things would work when it comes to like what me and my husband were as the objects in the marketplace that they were looking for, right? So as in what I mean is like, they're talking about like height, weight, income, age, they're talking to me about what they were looking for in numbers. But I also knew that if I asked my husband, like, why did you want to marry me? Why do you love me? I don't think he would say a single number. And I wouldn't say a single number to him.
Right.
Because if we did, I'm sure that, it probably would have been a problem that, I think at some point our combined household income was like $25,000 a year. So I don't know if I don't think we would have met any of the minimums of any of my clients, right? But still, what we were doing together, which is to be married, and we're still married, is that like, all of these things actually have nothing to do with the statistics, right? The numbers or material things that they were looking for in their partner.
It is a beautiful movie. Everyone should go see it.
Go see it. Go see
Congratulations
Materialists.
on it.
Thank you so much.
Round 2, insights. Okay?
Okay.
3 new cards. 1, 2, or 3?
2.
2. What's something you've outgrown?
What did I outgrow? What a good question. Can I have a second to think about it?
Yes.
Just because
Yes.
I'm trying to think.
Please.
I'm gonna ask you.
I knew you were going to do that. And I
I'm
was sitting there being like, yes, take a minute because I feel like you might flip it and I don't have an answer for this.
I'm flipping it. Let me think about mine.
Okay. Well, how am I going to say this? It doesn't make me seem like some strange isolationists. I've outgrown my social life.
Oh, wow. I love it. No, I love it. I was like, oh my God, this answer is going to be so good.
I don't know if that's right. Oh, and I can just hear all my friends being like, Rachel. I have grown into
Yes.
the ability to be alone in a way that I think I came up against for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And I've become in my grand old age more discerning about how I spend my time. And I've outgrown having some big social life. I don't need it. And it doesn't actually serve me very well. I need a lot of time to fill up my own cup kind of intellectually and emotionally. And so, that's my
great.
answer.
No, that's a great thing to outgrow. Don't let anybody feel any other way. That's awesome. No, I think that's very important. I think that of course happens. I would say that's certainly true about me too.
So what's your answer?
Well, my answer is that is the belief that it's the belief that somebody knows something that I don't know. Ooh. That's so good. People will just tell you something and I'll be like, okay, well, they're really, they have an amazing job. They have a lot of experience. I don't have enough experience.
Know. Right.
They must know. And then I would just watch them be wrong. Right? And then I'll be like, oh, no, you were wrong. Why did I think that you were right? Yeah. And in fact, I had this feeling where I thought you were wrong. And then I also had a feeling that this other thing was going to happen. And it did.
Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
1, 2, or 3?
1.
What's an expression of love you're trying to get better at?
Oh. Hmm. Oh, I think like very simple, stupid, kind words. You know, this is something that it was so funny. Like I feel like once my first AD, who I'm very close to, he once
Assistant
said,
director, yeah.
Yeah, he's an assistant director. He once said, I think I asked him, I was like, what am I not doing? You know, what am I not doing about a day? And he said, well, I think it's been a while since you told the actors that they've been doing a good job. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. And I do think they're doing a good job. And sometimes what happens is that like I'm so even when I'm really excited, like I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, that was awesome. So you must already know that you're awesome. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I see that you're awesome. So why would you need somebody to tell you you're awesome? It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is we have to sometimes just very simply say, you're so beautiful. You're perfect. You're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful you're here. I appreciate you. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm not strong on words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
What I love about that answer is that you, and it could be for privacy purposes, but your first instinct wasn't to go to friends or your husband, but it was to talk about how you demonstrate love in your job.
Yeah.
With people you work with.
Yeah. Well, I think that's true about my friends and my husband as well. I think that I'm weak on words of affirmation, you know?
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like, you must, with my husband, I'm like, you must know. Like, we share a bathroom together. We like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, we sleep next to each other every night. Like,
Every night.
You must know I like you. Like, you must know I love you. And then, of course, once in a while, I have to be like, yes, of course, but it is nice to hear. So I should just say, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's a good reminder for me,
I mean,
for all of us, you know?
For all of us. Because I'm like, also, it's like, you don't wear that out. I think that's still also the thing, too. It's like, there's more where that comes from. And it's like there's an infinite spring of love in all of us. Mm-hmm. So why do we need to be sparse with it? There's no need.
Beliefs.
Beliefs.
Yeah, beliefs. 3 new cards.
Okay.
1, 2, or 3?
2.
Are there any recurring symbols that show up in your life?
Yes. Yes. It's an unexpected answer. It's a cockroach. Yeah.
Tell me everything.
Every time there is some huge shift in my life, every time there's a change, or like there is a demand for change. Maybe I'm not willing to change it, but clearly there is change coming, whether I like it or not. So I have to adjust.
Yeah.
Every time there's a moment where I'm like growing up in a hard way, I have often seen a dead cockroach.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
So you should laugh. It's really funny. I mean,
it's just super surprising.
It is super surprising. I think that like it's so funny because usually a dead one. So once in a while it's a live one.
Or do you literally?
No. I literally
see them.
I literally see one, and I'm always like, "What is this?" Right? I see it, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what's going on with my life? Am I okay?"
But that seems like a negative omen. A dead cockroach.
Well, I actually
how do you connect it?
It doesn't feel negative because it does mean that like something's gonna. Like I'm gonna make a decision to change my life or something. Like it's kind of like a catalyst. Right? It's
a change. Yeah.
It's a change.
Death is a change.
Death is a change. I mean, like it's kind of like and you see it, and it's always like right in my path. Like it's never like in a corner. Really? Like it's like in the whole, like right outside my door. Like just like things like that, right?
Does it help you make a decision towards change? Does it help you accept change to see the dead cockroach?
Yes, it gives me it usually gives me the courage because it's such it's been such a recurring thing, right?
Do you remember the first time?
I mean, just as I was, I think that moving to New York, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that like I was like,
I mean, to
trying
be honest,
adjust.
most people who moved to New York City did.
That's what I mean. It's kind of the first time. So maybe it does feel connected to New York City, of course. But I've lived here all my life, so it's like,
Yeah.
So I remember literally like whenever I have a crisis of faith about am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Sometimes like that cockroach will appear, and I'll be like, I think I do have to do that thing. Like it's the reason why I moved to LA for 8 months too. Like I saw a cockroach, and I think I remember coming home to my husband, and I was like, I saw that cockroach, and I think we should spend some time in LA. And then I went to LA, and the first month I got my first like staff writing job ever, like first like professional writing job ever there after a month, and which I think was ultimately a really good thing and an important change. But I remember like that's when I really clocked it as like, oh, that's a thing.
That's incredible.
I know, it's funny.
And it makes me think, on the one hand, that you should get a dead cockroach tattoo. But then I say that out loud, and I think that maybe you shouldn't do that.
I shouldn't because
That's
the
not
cockroach.
cute.
It's not cute. You can't make that cute.
You can't make it cute.
No, you can't make it cute.
Maybe abstract, but
Yeah. Very Kafka, I'm realizing.
Yeah,
Very
right.
Kafka.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Very, it's very metamorphosis.
It totally is. I love that.
Yeah.
And now I also, as your fan, want there to be some random homage to the cockroach popping up in your films.
Yeah, oh my God.
I'm going to look. I'm going to look to see if I can see one scurry across the scene.
One day. One day. And you'll know. You'll be like, that's it.
There's Celine's change walking across.
It's good.
3 new cards. 1, 2, or 3.
1.
Is there anything in your life that feels like praying?
Oh, food.
Yeah. Does it?
Yeah.
The cooking of it? The sharing of it?
Eating.
The actual eating of the food.
Yeah. Like a great restaurant. Like my favorite restaurants. Like you go and you order what you always order and you get it. And then you just do nothing. And usually, I don't usually eat alone. If whoever I'm eating with, my friend or my husband, whoever, you sit and you eat. And it's like, it's very holy to me. Yeah, food.
How so? Say more.
I think it's like, you know how they say like, you eat to live or you live to eat? I really live to eat. And a part of it is like eating, I think, is something that I feel so lucky to get to do in a way that I want, right? Because, of course, hunger is an epidemic. Well, hunger is a crime, but yeah. It's like, so I think that I feel so lucky. It's very like blessed is a meal vibes a little bit. Like being like, it's like, oh, how amazing that I get to eat something. I eat something that I love so much, So that's one of the ways that I feel very grounded in the way that I know I'm an atheist, but, in a way that people who have religion might feel of being, it's like, how lucky that I'm sure their God guides me and provides for me. I'm like, that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, how amazing, how lucky I am that in my time on earth that I get to eat something delicious.
What's the last most deliciously prayerful meal or dish that you've had?
Well, I feel like my favorite restaurant in New York City is this place not far from where I live. It's a Korean restaurant, Muno. And I just like going there. And I like getting their, what's called 떡갈비. And you just get to eat. It's like a mashed up beef. And it's so delicious. I eat that. And I'm always like, I'm like, this is a holy experience,
I think that's beautiful. Okay. Last one, Celine. 1, 2, or 3?
3.
3.
Yeah.
What truth guides your life more than any other?
There's this incredible piece of wisdom that I got from my directing professor. I was sitting there as a playwright, but my directing professor in my theater school at Columbia is Anne Bogart, who is one of the most important experimental theater artists of all time. And she has it in this book, the four rules in anything that we have to do as people.
Wow.
Which is show up, pay attention, speak from the heart, and have no expectations. And I think about this whenever I'm in doubt, whenever I'm feeling like insecure, or whenever I'm feeling I don't know what to do today, I don't know what to do about that, that's stressing me out, that experience, I'm scared of that. I always go back to this, which is that you just have to show up, pay attention, speak from the heart, and then, of course, the hardest of all, have no expectations.
Yeah.
Having no expectations, I think, is because the other things that are a little bit easier to do, right?
I agree. It's the expectation thing that's really hard.
I've kind of like dealt with that problem, always trying to be like, listen, I can't help it. My brain is a future-seeking missile. You know what I mean? Like it's looking for what's going to happen, right? It's always it's planning. It wants a lot. It's very greedy. Like so, there's a way that I can't shut it down. I can't shut down expectation. So I've kind of tried to make it work for myself. That the final mantra, which is that like, I'm gonna. I may have expectations, but I'm going to know that it is not going to hold.
That seems realistic.
Right. And if it doesn't hold, it doesn't mean something went wrong.
Yeah.
And if it does hold, it doesn't mean that you're right.
That's right.
Right? You can have expectations.
Yeah.
You just cannot believe for even 1 second that those expectations are going to get met.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they do, fabulous. If they don't, that's how it is, you know?
There will always be a dead cockroach somewhere.
There will always be a dead cockroach somewhere. Let me, watch me walk out of this room and see what there.
Wait, what happens when you see an alive one? Doesn't carry the same meaning.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
weird.
They haven't changed. Yeah, it's still.
They haven't changed. Yeah, they're not dead.
Yeah.
Well, you think you're right, because I think the cockroaches I know are hard to kill. They're notoriously hard to kill, so I think to see it dead, I think is a remarkable thing.
See, you ended it on such a beautiful note, and then I had to like debase your beautiful truth with another dead cockroach. So we end the show the same way every time with a trip in our memory time machine. So in the memory time machine, you pick one moment from your past to revisit. It is not a moment you would change anything about. It's just a moment you would like to linger in a little longer. What moment do you choose?
So funny. I think that it was just a day where I think that we were all in the production office for Materialists, and all my department heads were there, and we were there, and I think that I was just sitting in my room, feeling so lucky and happy to get to make a movie. It is not a particular day, but it's like a one day where everybody's there and everybody's just working on making this movie, you know. Because what it is like to be a director is that you have a dream of this movie you want to make, and then you just start infecting other people, right, with that dream. And then everybody else starts burning up for it too. Everybody starts becoming devotional and passionate about this thing that was just a dream I had. And then eventually everybody's just hard at work, working on this movie because they all now believe in the dream together. And I remember like being in my office alone and knowing that in every other room in this office, somebody is working on this movie. You know, I think, I feel like I could have lived there forever. It was so sad when we had to leave because we had to eventually leave and start making the movie. But
Right.
I remember just being like, it's like, oh my God, like this is just heaven for me. We just get to sit here and just dream together about making a movie.
Celine Song, her newest movie, The Materialists, is out now. Thank you so much, Celine.
Thank you.